Good morning. Today I thought I would show you how I made some of these backgrounds in my little junky planner journal thing. And I talked about this before and showed it on a video with Rosemary, but in case y'all didn't manage to catch that, I thought I would do it again and show you this simple kind of watercolory background sort of technique, which is really good for just slapping some color on some pages, you know, to get rid of that white page syndrome. And you can make them dark or as light as you want. And all you need is some kind of either markers or watercolor something, you know, something not really acrylic based. You could do this with, you know, some kind of like acrylic paints, but I don't want my pages sticking together while they dry, and this makes them really wet, you know, a lot of them at the same time. So I'm going to use markers, and I'm going to use these. I've had these for, you know, years, just sitting in this bag doing nothing. They're super cheap. Most of them are like Crayola brand markers. You know, I mean, you could just raid your kids' marker stash if you want. And then I'm using a Ziploc bag. You just need something kind of, you know, plasticky, Ziploc bag-ish. And maybe a spray bottle of water. So here's what we do. And this, I saw this, y'all, on Instagram. I was just scrolling through, you know, the little thing where you scroll through random videos and search for stuff. And I was scrolling through, and it shows you the little bitty pictures, and then you can tap on them and click for the bigger one. Well, this video, this girl was doing, or person was doing this technique, and you know, it was just the little thumbnail, whatever, and I could see what she was doing, so I didn't even tap on it to watch it bigger. And I regret that because I don't know who it was, and I can't tell her thank you for the great idea. So yeah, if that was you, thank you for the great idea. And my apologies for not paying closer attention to who actually shared this. So what I'm going to do, some of these are going to be close to drying out. And if we're fortunate enough for that to happen, I can show you what I do once they do dry out. But we'll just take some and scribble. And I put a piece of white paper underneath so that you can kind of see what I'm doing, you know, what I'm scribbling. Because some of these really light ones don't show up very well. See, this one I think is just almost done all it can in this life, because it's almost empty. Let's do some weird orange. You can make mud when you do this. You have to be kind of careful not to do that. But I'll show you how you can get rid of the mud if it does happen. Okay. So I've scribbled on it. I've got my blank page ready to go. And now I'm just going to spray just a little bit of water. It doesn't take much. Just give it a little squirt. It shouldn't be too awfully runny. And then you just lay it down. And that's what I like about this, is that, you know, you can do it in bound books without making a huge mess. And then peel it off, and you've got this awesome watercolor thing. And then what I like to do is just smush the pages together, because then you can do 2 pages at once, right? So there we go. 2 pages at once. And then you can either let it dry, you can dry it with your heat gun. If you have a muddy section or some area that's too dark or whatever, you can, you know, dab it before it dries. And then there you have this nice watercolor background. So let me go ahead and give this a little chance to dry just a little bit. And then move on to the next one. And that's really all there is to it. Now I can keep going. Which side did I use? This one. I can keep going, you know, with these same colors, or I can wipe this off and, you know, put new colors. You don't want to do a whole lot of mixing because, you know, mud. It can happen. Let's just add some of this, and maybe, I don't know what that is. See, there's already a little color on here, so let's just see what happens. A little bit more water, and smush it down. See this right here? It's just a little bit kind of muddy looking. So if you just dab it up before it dries, then it goes away. And that's really light. And I do kind of try to keep my pages sort of light. And that's why these markers that are maybe half dried up work so well, because the color is light. And this is my planner, and I do sometimes actually write in it. So I don't want to, you know, have the color so dark that I can't really see where to write. Okay. Oh, see, whatever that is, I had that color out, so that's what I used on there. So let's add something else to it. And I don't know what it thinks it needs. I'm kind of leaning toward maybe a turquoise. Do I have a good turquoise? That one maybe? Let's see. And what else? Orange. Because, you know, blue and orange just love to mix together. Yeah. That's alright. Let's see what happens. A little bit of water. And oh yeah, that's not too bad. Ooh, okay, I kind of like it. And you can see I don't have a color scheme going on here. I mean, you could certainly do that. But I just kind of like turning the page every day to some kind of different colors. I bet I used those silks on here. Remember these? I don't even know if these are still a thing. They probably are, and I just don't know. Sorry. These are silks from Lumen Arts, and once upon a time they were really kind of a fluffy texture. I don't know how else to describe them other than fluffy. They were fluffy paints and just super cool, but they've dried up over the years because I've had them for years and years. But I found that if you just add some water to them, you can get some more color out of them. They don't get fluffy again, but you know, that's okay because they are what they are. So let's just open these up. See, that one's got a little water in it. That's probably what I used on there. And bring them back to life a little bit and see what happens. I'm going to let them sit for a few minutes. Let's just let them sit and think about what they're doing. And while those are reconstituting, we'll do something else. I've got some of these, y'all remember these paint sticks? I think I got these off Amazon at one time. It's when we were using these, everyone was using these a whole lot. I can't remember what these are called now. The Faber-Castell gelatos, that's it. We were using these gelatos, and I only had just a few of them. But they're kind of pricey, very cool. But I found these on Amazon for way cheap. And it's similar, it's just kind of a, you know, paint stick. And it's called Play Color Instant something something solid poster paint. Play Color. So I'll see if I can find those still on Amazon. It's been several years ago. But these are actually kind of cool. They, okay, let's just see what they do. Let's turn the page. I can't remember if I used them in here or not. I know I used my water-soluble oil pastels, which it worked. They just came out really light most of the time, if I remember right. But pretty much anything water-based will work. So let's do, oh, I remember what I did now. Yeah. I dipped this in water and then kind of did this. I think that's what I did. Okay, let's just see. Oh, I stuck my finger in my reconstituting silks. Whoops. Okay, this one. Oh, yeah, I did dip it in water because it didn't, when you spray it, it doesn't do like the other ones. I'm remembering now, slowly. And the purple. Okay. Because this might have more of a, I don't even know if it's an acrylic base, but it's definitely not just watercolory. So if you just kind of scribble it on there and then spray it with the water, it doesn't immediately start to do what you want it to. And that's why I wet the tip before putting it in there. Oh, it comes out very light, which, like I said, is what I want. Very nice. I might add a little, let's try maybe this darker blue. Did I already put that on there? I don't remember what I put on there. Yeah, put some of that on there. A little bit of water. And some of these pages, you know, I let them dry and then I come back to them later and I'm like, oh, that doesn't really excite me. And then I'll add something else to them. So they're kind of, you know, never finished. Of course, nothing I do is ever finished. As long as it's in my possession, I reserve the right to go back and add or change or whatever. So you can experiment with different things. If you don't have markers, experiment with paint sticks. You can actually use actual watercolors. Get you a brush and just dab some on randomly. Use what you got. And I'll tell you what I did once these markers started to dry up is I would take and just take some tweezers and pull that nib out. Do I have tweezers? Why do I not have tweezers? They should just fall into my outstretched hand. Okay. Oh, there they are. There we go. So you can just take and kind of pull that out like that. And there'll still be some ink in there. And then I put it in one of these little cups with some water and just let the ink come out. And then it's like, you know, watercolor. So yeah, I did that a lot in here too when they started to get a little too dry to do on here. So don't give up on your dry markers. Just pull out their little nibs and put them in some water, just a small container of water, and you'll get some watercolors to use. Okay, so that was the play color. I did it again. I stuck my finger in the reconstituting silks. Okay, maybe that means we should go ahead and use them before I end up spilling them all over the place. Okay, and these colors that I have are kind of weird. It's like a russet red and a burnt orange and some kind of pink and this kind of olivey green and a bright blue and a bright yellow. So I think I will just find me a brush. Not that size, maybe this size. I'll just take a brush and wet it and then just kind of put some on here like this. And I may have to be careful about double dipping. Let's do some green and some blue and then some pink up here. And they're already super wet, so I'm just going to barely give it a spray and lay it down. Oh, lovely. I don't need that big green blob right there, so whoop, 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 gone. And I'll go ahead and smush it. That looks familiar because that's the last page. Where's this one? Here it is. Okay, there we go. And you want to be really careful because these pages can tear, but they're just not as delicate as you might think. They're super thin, which makes me think, you know, ooh, they're just going to tear when you look at them, but they don't. They've got some strength to them. I'm fascinated by this paper. This is the Hobonichi cousin, or whatever you call it. And I'm not drying these all the way. I'm just kind of giving them a quick dry. And you can do that as long as you're not using, you know, something that would be sticky, like, you know, something acrylic based, because that would cause your pages to stick together, and we don't want that. Let me see if I can use some of what I've already got on here and add some of this orange. And maybe some more of the pink. And just one dab of blue right there. Okay. And let's put this one face up so that it goes on this page, you know, just because. Oh, nice. And then do this on this side. Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. I'm going to dab these blobs just so they'll dry faster. See, as long as you don't add too much water, then you can usually keep them from muddying up on you. If you're just, you know, turning your baggie over and it's dripping, that kind of tells you you've probably got too much water. See, now this might be a little too dark for, or just too much color to actually write on. And, you know, when that's the case, then there's always, you know, gesso, or actually I use white paint. I have a bunch of this golden titanium white, which is kind of pricey. I also use this, you know, white acrylic craft paint. And you can just take a brush and just kind of like dry brush over it and tone down the color just enough so that you can see to do whatever it is you want to do on it. Oh, that's so pretty. So yeah, you get the idea. You can get super pretty results for like not a lot of effort. You don't need fancy supplies. You can use your kids' markers. Use some other stuff you have on hand that you maybe haven't visited in a while, right? And then just go to town and make you some pretty backgrounds. So that is all I wanted to show you today. I hope that you give it a try, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. The end.